and welcome back to the Whatnauts review show number 315, where each week we have a different story to talk about. Could be a comic, a movie, a TV show, anime, manga, all sorts of stuff. We read it, we watch it, we come back here, and we talk about it. I think that's the first time I've done the longer version of the intro in months. I think. I don't know. My name is Kyle Springer. I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson. Melissa, how are you?
That's true. I'm doing good. How has your weekend been?
My weekend has been extra long. My partner and I had taken some time off because my parents were supposed to be in town.
All right.
Long story short, that didn't happen, and we decided to keep those days off. So we've just kind of been relaxing. It's been nice to catch up on some of the shows we've been watching or the video games we've been playing, stuff like that. There's a video game that I'm super excited to start that I want to at least put on your radar, Melissa.
I won't play it.
I know you won't, but it's called Blue Prince, as in like a royal prince.
Uh-huh.
But it was described to me as House of Leaves, the video game.
Okay.
So it's a house with
tempting.
Like a bunch of puzzles and stuff in there, and like this game came out of nowhere, and everyone was like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. It's amazing. One of my top 3 video games of all time now, and so I'm sitting there like, ooh, that sounds interesting. This came out of nowhere. And then when they said House of Leaves, the video game, I was like, sold. I'm buying it right now, even if I can't play it yet. So
I do love a big weird house. That is the number one thing that could get me to actually play a video game.
Yeah.
I went on a series of house.
Go find a streamer who's like streaming it and watch their
I don't like to watch streams. There's too much chatter. I don't like that streams are streamed to the masses and they talk to the masses and like read comments. Like, can you just have one person in one game quietly, please?
Yeah, you might be able to find that, especially somewhere on YouTube. But yeah.
I went on a series of house tours yesterday. St. Louis Homes and Lifestyles magazine had an island hopping tour, touring different kitchens.
Ah, okay. I was like, island hopping. You're landlocked. Did they
kitchen islands?
Did they provide you with any kind of like tiki drink cocktail? Like it's island themed.
One house did.
Nice. Okay.
Another house might have. I got there at the very, very end. It was only because I ran into the editor-in-chief of St. Louis Homes and Lifestyles magazine. And she's like, oh, I'm going to go close down that third house. Come with me. I'll let you in, even though it's yours.
Nice. Okay. That's fun. There you go. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, that's not really a great segue into what we are talking about today, but we'll roll with it. Today, we are discussing I Was a Teenage Wereskunk here on the podcast. So for this month, we kind of decided that we wanted to focus on comedies, right?
Welcome to Stupid April. We spent a lot of this year on more serious, more dramatic stories. And I wanted just dumb laughs as a break this month.
Yeah, and that's what we tend to do in general. More serious stuff, yeah. So, I Was a Teenage Wereskunk was the first thing that we picked. This was a movie I had seen once before. My partner is really into movies like this, so she has shown me a couple of them, and this is one that stood out as like, oh, this one was really good. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you were like, yeah, let's do just some stupid stuff, I was like, I got the perfect one. So yeah, this is my second time watching it. Melissa, you're first. So I want to know what you thought of this. I Was a Teenage Wereskunk. Now, when I mentioned this, I don't think I truly described it as like what it was. You looked up the plot, and we'll get to a synopsis in a sec. But what did you think what were your expectations going in?
You already had me watch The Velocipaster, and I
Hmm.
presumed this would be similar. A schlocky B-movie homage where guy turns into thing. And that does happen. It is that. But I was not expecting how weird it would be around the edges. Like, there's so many strange non sequiturs that aren't related to the
Yeah.
genre homage at the center of the piece. This thing is so silly. It's on such a shoestring budget. What I loved about it is that you can tell these are all friends making it. They're probably like people who are on an improv troupe or something together.
Maybe.
There's
I
scenes
don't
of
know.
them like goofing off. There's very clear ad libs.
Yeah.
It's such a playful, weird movie. I had a tremendous time with this.
Good. I'm so glad. Yeah. This is one because there's certainly that like B movie type of like a modern day interpretation of a B movie that is more so paying homage to that
Mhm.
stuff than actually being a B movie that aren't the greatest. And that's
Mhm.
not really necessarily any fault of their own. That's just kind of what it is. And then there's some that are like, yeah, like this is so silly. They're having a great time making this. You can tell. It's just a fun hour and a half to watch this. Um, so yeah, I'm excited we got to do this here on the podcast. Um, yeah, they're like even in our second time watching it, there's certain bits that like stood out more than they did our first time, and my partner and I are now quoting it around the house and stuff. A bear? How embarrassing! Right. uh we have a great time with this one, so I highly recommend it. Lots of good laughs in this. Go check it out. We found this on Tubi, is
Mhm.
where we watched it, so go check it out. I Was a Teenage Wereskunk. um is there anything else you want to say kind of about it, spoiler free, before we get into the synopsis of what this actually was?
It has a number of original songs in it. I wasn't expecting that.
Right, yeah, some great stuff. There is kind of a little bit of everything in this, right?
Yes.
There's some horror, there's some like crime stuff happening, there's just straight up comedic stuff that is happening in this as well
There's
too.
sexual pancakes. It's got it all.
Yeah, sexual tension, sexual pancakes. Yeah. An actor in multiple roles like we love here on the
Perf-
review show.
Performance of the year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. Let's get into a synopsis of what is actually happening in I Was a Teenage Wereskunk. Let's see here. So, it's supposedly taking place in like the 1950s. I'm putting air
Uh-huh.
quotes around this. That's usually the vibes that they're giving off here in this movie. But it is about this young guy who, as he is being a peeping Tom, gets sprayed by a skunk. And it turns out that this skunk it's not the skunk that is like has mystical powers or anything like that, but because he's in this like heightened state of arousal when it
Uh-huh.
happens, he has been marked. And he when he returns to that heightened state of arousal, he turns into a skunk himself. And so yeah, he's a teenage skunk, and so he's trying to figure out like what is happening to him. Why is he changing? He's also murdering people when when he changes into a skunk.
Mm.
He ends up killing one of his best friends and their girlfriend up at like the like lovers lane point, so
Mhm.
that overlooks the city. Um, stuff a little like that. And as he's trying to figure this out, he's still also trying to win over his own heart. And it turns out that they might be a little more compatible than they thought at first there. So there you go. That is kind of the synopsis of what is happening. Any other last minute kind of thoughts on that before we get into spoilers?
What a silly movie to try and spoil, but it's like not yesterday, on the last episode when we talked about Mulholland Drive, and we're like, can you spoil this movie? If we tell you
Right.
what the actual ending is, it doesn't make sense if you haven't seen it. You won't hear us describe that ending and say, well, now you've ruined it. Now
Right,
I can't watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
It's a
this
blast.
is a thing chock full of surprises.
Absolutely. So just real quick here, this was both written and directed by Neil McLaughlin, and stars Clayton Ronner, Melanie Minichino, Megan Hensley, and more.
More.
And more. Yeah. Yeah, so let's take a quick break for housekeeping, and when we come back, we will get into some spoilers. So we will be right back. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast. We hope you're enjoying it. If you didn't know, we make multiple different shows here at the Whatnauts, and a lot of hard work goes into making them, so we would love it if you check them all out. But none of this is possible without your support. Head over to patreon.com/thewhatnauts, and you can get access to over 40 hours of exclusive content, including our Patreon first podcast, The Pilots Club, when you sign up at our $3 tier. Of course, there is a free version of the Pilots Club available, but episodes are exclusive to our Patreon for 2 years before they hit the free feeds. If you're interested in buying merch, we have shirts, hoodies, mugs, and more for sale over at thewhatnauts.com/store. Another great way to help us out is by subscribing and leaving a nice rating and review on your podcasting app of choice. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel for video versions of the show, trailer reactions, and live streams. And lastly, you can always find out more information about the shows we make on our website, thewhatnauts.com. And we are back once again. Big shout out to our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. It means a ton. Over on the Pilots Club, we released our episode on the original Danish version of The Killing. We got to talk about the first episode of that show over there. It's one I've been meaning to watch for a long time. So this might kickstart my interest in that show a lot. It's a crime show that has been very influential on other crime shows since, including a reference in the recent Agatha All Along show. So good stuff with that. Over on the free version of the Pilots Club, we released our episode on Bob Patterson, all about the world's third most successful self-help guru.
I laugh every time you say Bob Patterson, because we are the only people keeping Bob Patterson alive.
Bob Patterson didn't even keep Bob Patterson alive.
Right. If you say that name to Jason Alexander, I think it'll take him 10 minutes to remember what it means.
Yeah. It's an interesting show where they filmed, I want to say like 10 episodes or so, and a number of those got lost to time. You can't find them out there anywhere. Only a handful of them were aired.
And I watch a lot of YouTube videos about lost media. Nobody brings up Bob Patterson. I only found out it was lost media when I Googled the show to confirm, like, how long did it run? What year was it from? And I found an article on the Lost Media Wiki. So somebody has documented that it is lost, but nobody on YouTube is like, I'm digging into the archives to find Bob Patterson.
walks into the
Nobody's
Indiana
gotten to this
Jones
one yet.
set. Yeah. So yeah, that is over on the free version of the Pilots Club for you all to check out. Melissa already mentioned it earlier in the show, but over right here on the review show, we covered Mulholland Drive. We wanted to cover something from David Lynch since he recently passed away. So rest in peace, David Lynch. That was my first time watching Mulholland Drive. I had a great time. Melissa, it was your second, but you got to go check it out in theaters for the podcast. So
Yes,
that's
everybody
awesome.
is doing a David Lynch memorial, as we all should.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
my local Alamo Draft House was playing Mulholland Drive. You know what else my local Alamo Draft House is playing in memoriam of a lost loved one? I
What's
just got
that?
tickets to Batman Forever.
Nice. There you go.
Never had the chance to see it in a theater. It's gonna be a great time.
Good stuff. Over on the captain's log, Melissa and I got to catch up on some of the pop culture news that we had missed over the past couple weeks because we were doing other things on the captain's log, like explaining Formula One. So yeah, got to talk about some of the Marvel Thunderbolts, their new A24 trailer. Got to talk about John Wick 5, Spider-Man Brand New Day, all sorts of stuff. So go check that out.
All the chairs.
Yes, all of the chair announcements. Is who was the first one they announced?
Chris
in that,
Hemsworth.
you remember? So Chris Hemsworth is the first chair in the Marvel Orchestra, right? That's how it works.
Plays the violin real good.
Right? Yeah.
What if we get to Comic-Con and it is like you just watch a stagehand line up more chairs? They just do the same thing, but now it happens live.
Just once every 15 minutes, they come out and put out a new chair in there. Oh my God. Anyways, that's what we did over on the Captain's Log. We have the second half of our Severance Season 2 coverage over on the Reactor Core. And now that the Yellow Jackets Season 3 finale happened, it's out. I still haven't started watching it yet due to circumstances, but I will be watching it ASAP so that we can cover season 3 of that show too, because I'm super excited about that one. So be on the lookout for all of that good stuff over on some of our other shows. But without further ado, let's get on to some spoilers. So first thing, I normally look at Wikipedia for a lot of the stuff that we cover. I don't think there was a Wikipedia page for this, so I had to go to the IMDb. I'm just noticing this now. I didn't even think about it when I said it. When I said it stars, and I named 3 of the actors in this. Clayton Ronner was the first one. He's the actor that played Harold Potter. So look, great performance.
Right.
Loved it in there. Is he really the star in this? I don't know. What's IMDb doing?
Maybe he just has the most credits. Like out of all of these kids who took a UCB class, this guy's also like had a minor supporting role on Bosch or something.
I don't know. So Melanie Minicino, I hope I'm saying that right. The one that was in the dual role. She's a pretty accomplished voice actor.
Good.
Yeah, she's in The Sopranos. She's voice acted in Kung Fu Panda, in My Adventures with Superman, where she plays Cat Grant. She's been in like Call of Duty. She was on some additional voices on Marvel's What If, all sorts of stuff. So there you go. Yeah, but I like that's the thing. I'm not familiar with any of these actors like by their faces or stuff like that guy or anything.
I
like
imagine
that,
when I watched this movie, I thought maybe I've heard some of these people on a comedy podcast before.
Maybe.
I did not confirm, but that seems like that's the energy of this movie where their background, what I made up about it. That seems likely.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
is a
that
troupe.
seems
This is a
very
whole Herald
likely.
team.
Um, man, yeah. What a great time this was here. So now that I mentioned that, where do you want to start with this? So
I
you mentioned like songs. That there's some
yes,
original songs. Let's start with that.
I wanna start with the structure of this movie. So we
Sure.
start with
Go
a
ahead.
couple pulling up to Lover's Lane, uh, and you imagine this guy is gonna become the Wereskunk. No, he is killed by the Wereskunk. Both members of the couple is. And then we flash back and we see they are friends of the boy who will become Wereskunk. And I think when the movie starts to display itself as being something more than just the genre pastiche is when
Mhm.
he suddenly breaks into song in the diner and there's girls in sexy skunk costumes and he's dressed as Elvis, but he's dressed as 1970s Las Vegas sparkly cape Elvis, not
Right.
the
Yeah.
Elvis that would have existed here in
At
the
the time.
1950s.
Right. Yeah.
And at that point, I think I realized this is something greater. And then it just keeps going from there. There's so many other odd little details, like the Elvis costume being wrong, which read to me as like, this is part of the joke that the costume's wrong. And it goes on to things like what might be my favorite part of the whole movie when they go see Harold Potter
Yeah.
and the scene plays out
Great
as if
scene.
they're at his house, but he's in a little kid's play shed in a backyard with a little chair next to it. You just act like it's a house.
Yeah, it's that and like the out of the what's the word? Is it anachronistic when it's out of time? Right? Is
Yes,
that yeah?
lots of anachronisms.
Lots of stuff like that. The fact that he's Harold Potter and they're like Harry
One
Potter. Come
one
on,
character,
guys.
just
Yeah,
just Officer Maggie. Officer Maggie, who is a member of the police force who's inexplicably wearing mom shorts. Not
yeah,
little Lieutenant Dangle from Reno 911 shorts, like knee length mom shorts.
yeah,
And she knows stuff, inexplicably knows stuff from the future. She's like,
yeah.
I don't know why I know that. And at the end of the movie, it's revealed she's a robot.
Yes, absolutely
From where?
incredible.
I don't know.
Incredible, but like even that stuff, like calling him Harry Potter and then seeing him in this tiny house is also very Harry Potter of him. It's like his cupboard under the stairs like size house that he has, but that's his house and he's like trying to sneak out the side as the cop
Right.
is
And
knocking on the door.
the size of the house. Like he
Yeah.
cannot stand up or lay down in that thing. It is a kid's play shed. And then the police chief is like, I'm here to see your son. And he's like, what son? Billy? Bobby?
No,
Harold
Timmy.
Jr., the second junior? And he runs through a list of 15 boys before he gets to the right son. And it's like, you don't even have a house. You live in a play shed. Where do the 15 boys live?
They're on their own. They grow up so fast. Yeah, the structure of this one is interesting because it does a lot of. I mean, it has that one flash back, but then we also get
Yes.
a like once he turns into the skunk, we also get this like it calls back to some more of the like 1950s B movies where you see it from the monsters
Yes.
perspective as they're like hunting these scientists out in the field and stuff like that, which they all do have that, but it's like yeah, it's him in his like skunko vision or whatever it is,
Mhm.
and it's this like black and white blurred on the edges, right? And he's chasing him around and stuff like that. um it's really interesting, but then it like will switch genres too.
Yes.
it's not just the structure. I already kind of mentioned that it has a little bit of everything, but you could certainly see this, like, if they wanted to make this movie just a horror movie, they certainly could, right? If they wanted to make this only a comedy, they certainly could, right? Or only some kind of weird oddball crime show, they certainly could, right? But because it switches, it's interesting to watch. It kind of keeps your interest in that way.
Right. And even within subgenres, like they meet that Jamaican woman who works at the veterinarian's office, and she's like, "You have been cursed by Sagongu." And it is kind of a hackneyed horror movie trope, but it's not from the era of horror movies they are mainly parodying. It's like an extra thing stuck on there. It doesn't belong here either, no more than anything else does.
Yeah. And on top of that, the movie's just really horny.
It's horny in such a silly way. Like, I love when he takes his dog to the veterinarian, and you realize the veterinarian is the woman he was trying to peep on before. And he happens across it. He's not like purposely going out there to do it. He just is walking down the street and he's like, "Lady taking a top off with the window open."
Thumbs up.
Then a skunk gets him. She's like, "Here, listen to my stethoscope. Like, hear your dog's heartbeat." And he got his head against the stethoscope, and it's around her neck, so his face is next to her boobs.
Yeah, like right near her
right,
chest.
He gets real nervous and leaves, and he stammers, "I'm late for my boobs."
Great. I feel like that is something that like Hank or Dean would have said in Venture Burrows, right? Just absolutely. I'm late for my boobs.
Yes. I love the giant stack of flapjacks on the kitchen table I don't even remember Wereskunk's name, but it's his parents' house.
Yeah.
And his dad's like the town sheriff, and his mom is basically the mom from Jimmy Neutron. They have the like perfect 1950s breakfast with like these foot wide flapjacks,
and
like
super
these comically
thick ones too.
these comically thick and beautiful, perfect flapjacks on the table that nobody touches. And his parents are so horny,
he
and they'll
eats
like
one, but he eats it dry. Like with no syrup, no butter, no nothing.
When his parents go upstairs to have sex, the equivalent of the fade to black is zooming in on the pancakes as just thick syrup drops down on them.
Yeah. It's great stuff. To have like to see even like his mom and dad be that extra horny, where every time like he's home, she's always like, "But officer, I've seen a crime. Like, you need to arrest me. Like, I've been very bad." And then the one time we see them in the bedroom, it is not the like cops and robbers like play. It's clowns. They're in a clown suit.
Right. It's a completely different role play than everything else you've heard has led you to believe. She is actively distracting him from his job. She's so horny, she doesn't care. They're having sex as clowns at the end of the movie. And then Deputy Gary is like, "If you're ever looking for a third, I have a lion tamer suit at home." Dad's like,
he's like, "Thanks. I'll think about that." She goes, "Bitchin'."
Dad's like, "Great, thank you for telling me. I appreciate it."
It's so great.
I love that everyone in this movie is the same age.
Yep. Yeah.
The characters are not, but all of the actors are approximately the same age. There's accents from all over the world.
Yeah.
Harry is like from Louisiana? Question mark.
I thought like that, or maybe even like like a really bad New York accent. Like it
There's
switches between them. It's really
there's
weird.
such goofball accents all over the place.
Yeah,
Uh, there's no zero sense of reality. It's holding on to nothing.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, but let's circle back to the actual songs and stuff. That
Uh-huh.
was something you said that surprised you. To have original songs in this, I think is like I said, there are certainly B movies of this type that really don't have the budget, and it shows, and it just kind of is what it is. And then, like we were also talking about with when we covered Velocipaster, this one does not have a budget either, but it's on purpose, right? The acting
Yeah.
is bad on purpose. Like that is the charm. That's why you're here. And even then, there's ways for that kind of movie to go above and beyond. And to have original songs is absolutely one of them. That's so neat that they have their own like Wereskunk song.
Yeah, there's the one that plays over the opening credits, and then the one he sings in the diner. They are perfect. They are these exact pastiches of what it is they're supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just it's a lot of fun because yeah, you don't expect that when you look this movie up and it's like, oh, horror comedy. It almost starts to turn into a musical and then does not, right?
Right. Yes, there is one musical number, exactly one.
Right, but like it's so at the start of the movie you don't know what to expect. You're like, oh, is this, are there going to be more musical numbers in this down the road? Like you just don't know. And I think the movie does a really good job of keeping you on your toes.
Hmm.
So good stuff, good
I
fun stuff with the
remember when
music.
Charles Manson was in this movie for one scene. What was that
Yes.
about?
I don't know.
That's See, that's another thing it could have been. It could have gone down that road. It could have become Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Before there was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I was a teenage wereskunk. Um, yeah, it's so interesting to see the variety of
Mm.
characters that are in this too, right? You have the like we're I don't know exactly how old all these actors were, but the like we're 30 somethings playing high school students,
Mm.
right? You have the right the local sheriff that everyone knows. You got the old man Potter, who's almost like the prospector in like old western style stuff, but he's not, right? um
He's Old Man McGlucket from Gravity Falls.
sure, yeah. And yeah, he's it, like they have that character, and then you have like the beatnik scene, the like into the like smoky jazz like I did not expect that, and I forgot that they were in this movie, and that yeah, Charles Manson is in this.
Mm. I want to talk about the beatniks
Yes, please.
because so we have these varsity sports jerseys. It's like two guys in varsity jerseys and two girls in cheerleader uniforms. And
Yeah,
their cheerleader uniforms just say sports in cursive across the chest.
love it.
The fact the fact that it's in cursive adds 10 comedy points. They're drinking milkshakes with two straws. And then this beatnik just comes up to and starts flirting with our main character. And he's like, gee, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay. Yeah, seems cool. I'll go with you. And he's not reading On the Road by Jack Kerouac. He's reading Off the Road by Jake Kerouac.
I have to
And
say that scene where he comes up and starts doing all the I'm not even sure what you call it, the like jive talk and stuff like that. it's so well written. It is like it's so purposely confusing
Yes.
and confounding
Yes.
that it's just like, oh, this is so good. Even if it's not like, because I certainly don't know a beatnik or anything like that, right?
I
But
want to
like,
talk about this. Yes.
but it seems to fit like what that like a trope of that kind of
Mm,
character would say, and how they would sound. It fits so well, so that to someone like me, I can't even tell, like, it is that supposed to be how they like. I know it's that sort of thing, but are they just spoofing it, making it up? I don't know, but it's so good.
right. Kyle, where did beatniks go? It's we don't have them
Where did
anymore,
all the
do we?
beatniks go? I can
I
now
don't
see a
for sure.
mix of where did all the cowboys go, but it's where did all the beatniks go? Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have no idea.
I feel like I've always known what a beatnik is. That was a archetypical character who would pop up every once in a while
They're
in
in the Goofy
cartoons when we were
movie,
kids.
right?
Right, the
Which
Goofy
is
movie,
on its like 30th anniversary or something this year. I don't
yes.
know.
There's Judy Funny, Doug's older sister.
Right?
There's, the episode of The Simpsons where you find out Ned Flanders' parents were beatniks. Like, there's, the guy from The Iron Giant, perhaps king of them all. Like, this was a type in cartoons in the 90s, and you looked at it, and you got it, and you knew what it was. It even from those brief appearances, you got it. I don't know where
Right.
beatniks came from. I don't know where they went. What did they evolve into? It like why did we spend so much time on what appears to be a very narrow part of 20th century culture that
They
was just
had
from like 1956 to 1968 or whatever?
such an iconic look. I think is
Yes.
part of it. They show up in like the black turtleneck with that like beret like hat. You know, like, one of them. That's all you need.
Right.
Um,
And
but
then
I don't
what?
know.
I
I can see.
sincerely wanted to like do like a dive into this. Somebody must have a video essay explaining to me where did they go?
Poetry,
What did
hip
they
hop,
what did
jazz.
right, what did they turn into? Is hip hop what it turned into?
I mean, not it like in full. Like this is the next step, but I can see them branching out into a couple different things. Um,
I
uh,
can picture a hippie growing into an old hippie. I don't know if I've ever seen an old beatnik. Once a
Now,
beatnik turns 35, then what do they do?
I so also I tend to see when a beatnik. I hope this is the right terminology too,
Comes
right?
from yes,
But like,
I think there was a sincere artistic movement, including Jack Kerouac's book On the Road, that was called the Beat Movement. So beatnik does come from that, but
yeah,
I don't I don't know how
but like,
I can kind of figure out the starting point. I'm clueless as to the end point.
but when they show up, at least from what I've seen, they're also typically white. I really
Yes,
don't see
yes.
black people involved, or like Hispanics or Asians, right? And I know at least in like film of that era, maybe not
Right,
as
right.
diverse, right? So I don't know what the actual movement was like, but the way that they are talking is very close to what you might hear in like the bonics of like of black culture and stuff like
Yes.
that. And so I don't know how much that intermingled, but I know that even in their poetry and the stuff that they were talking about, a lot of the beatniks were for like revolution and like being aware of your surroundings and what the government is trying to do to you.
But
And shortly after
also
that, we also get.
they
Go
also
ahead.
seem chill though. I've never seen a beatnik as portrayed in pop culture, be especially angry. They aren't the
Right.
people to like
They're not like
hold up a picket
activist
sign.
per
Right.
se.
Instead, they'll just read like a witty satirical poem. And like that's as strong as their activism gets.
But
They're too
if they
cool.
did evolve into a more activist route, I can kind of see them aligning more with movements like the Black Panthers and stuff like that.
Perhaps.
And then when, of course, when they got wiped out by COINTELPRO, I can see that side of things kind of being squashed. But I don't know. That is an interesting question.
I was not expecting this movie, of all movies, to raise so many important questions about
The
sincere
history of beatniks
20th
and
century sociological movements.
Yeah, absolutely. But then, yeah, like, did they mention in this movie also where this movie is located? Because
Not specifically, but it is so
accents,
clearly filmed in Southern California.
right? Yeah, because yeah, you also have Charles Manson at this jazz club that they go to, who's in it for like 2 minutes, and then like leaves with some girl, and you're just like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
But like we said, like the accents feel like Louisiana, New York. Like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, they're all over the place. So it's kind of hard to tell exactly where this is taking place. But
Right.
yeah, the
It's
palm
a lot of
trees, the like Lover's Lane looking over the city feels a lot like California for sure.
I've never been to a lover's lane, and I've never known of one in real life. Have you?
No,
Like
not
when
really.
when you were in high school, I not that I was cool in high school or kissed any boys, and didn't really hear about very many people kissing each other. So maybe this just might be my experience, but I don't know if lovers lanes persisted. I don't know if anybody had them when we were kids.
We certainly
would I
weren't
know if I
going
was-
under the bleachers, which is also the other trope, right? Like that would have been like, are you guys stupid? Who wants to hang out under the bleachers? That's dumb.
Smells and there's bugs under there.
Yeah.
Would I know if I was in a lover's lane if I accidentally found myself in one, just alone? Like if I just went driving around in my car, maybe I've been to one and I just didn't see people kissing to tell me that's what it was. They're generally in real life not marked with signs the way they are in movies.
Right. Yeah. Because like I've certainly been to a point where it's like, oh, here's like the end of a neighborhood where instead of a cul-de-sac, there's like like an outlook over part of the city, but it's in a neighborhood, right? It's not like a secluded area like that almost looks like a turn off rest stop. Like, here's a scenic view that you sometimes see in like national parks and stuff like that, you know?
And now, when I see a little ledge on the edge of a cliff, all I can think of is that one scene in The Wages of Fear where they have to back the truck off the ledge to turn around. Not a romantic setting. I go to some place with such a beautiful view just to kiss and not look at it. And don't you think other people are going there just to look at the view and not to kiss? Like, you're going to get caught. Or maybe not caught. I don't know if the average sightseer is going to be like, hey, kids, stop it.
Yeah, but also the average sightseer probably won't be there after midnight or something, which is when like the high school kids or college age kids who knows would be, right? That is their like,
how do you know? Maybe
let's sneak out after hours and, you know.
Maybe there's just an innocent stargazer, just like a local astronomer, a guy in a lab coat.
There might be. You never know. And then he's sitting there with this big old telescope. My partner was laughing at the fact that when they were making out in the car at at their lover's lane lookout point. When he's feeling her up, he's like lifting one of her boobs instead of like
He's
squeezing
going
it.
to one boob. He never tries
Right.
for the other one
But
at a time.
He's like lifting it up to like, let me feel the weight. Like,
Yes.
it's really funny.
Like I'm buying produce.
Yeah, just like, okay.
Ketchup.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
To talk about that lover's lane scene at the very beginning, that is shot beautifully. I don't know if that's an
Yes.
actual vista or if they were able to mock something up, because you just see it in the background. It's all blurry. It's just like light flares. I don't know if that's real or if they did something with lights and camera aperture to make it look like it was real. But either way, I think it looks nice. There is some good, there's some nice shots in this movie. It's technically proficient.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that scene is also interesting because it looks different than the rest of the movie. Like it does feel like a much more produced shot because of the bokeh effect, whereas like everything else is like everything is in focus, right? There's no like blurry stuff, unless it's the like post-production or however they made the effect of like this skunk of vision stuff where it's like it's blurry at the top and bottom. But there is something about that scene that is a little more magical.
Yes.
Which is interesting and fun. And then we don't really get that for much of the rest of it. So, which is okay. Like, I'm not mad at that as like, I wish it looked like the rest of that. It feels a part of it still.
I think it's purposeful that the movie starts out a little more sincerely cinematic and then gets so goofball.
Yeah.
I like the skunk makeup. It for what it is, it looks pretty good.
Sure. Yeah. He has like he has some kind of like wig on, the like skunk mask that like goes over his nose.
And you can see like the string that
right, yeah,
behind his ears, and they just paint it over the string, but you can still see it. It's like just cheap enough and just well done enough. It hits a really direct little spot, that makeup.
Right, yeah. And yeah, that is something that you kind of get to see more of as the movie starts to wrap up. We find out that his sweetheart, again, I don't remember her name, but the bigger girl who's always on the roller skates, even in bed when she's masturbating, still has her roller skates on.
Incredible. First off, I was delighted to just see a fat cheerleader where the joke is not that she's a fat cheerleader.
Yeah.
And she
stuff.
wears the roller skates constantly. And I'm like, oh, that's what the joke is. The weight isn't part of it at all. The rollers. And nobody talks about the roller skates either. Yeah. They're just ever present. She was a lot of fun. I liked her a lot.
Yeah. But then we find out that she has also somehow been marked, and it's unclear if she's gotten hit by the skunk or was hit because of him.
It's when he goes into her bedroom and she gives him a literal blowjob just by breathing on his jeans.
Yeah.
And then he gets aroused and does the skunk fart. I think then she like catches it. She doesn't know she has it. Then she masturbates with the pom-pom handle. A visual I never thought I'd see when she stands up in her roller skates with just the pom-pom hanging down from her skirt.
And when she pulls it out and it makes the cork pop sound.
The cartooniest pop sound. She's become aroused enough and skunk enough to become a beautiful wereskunk girl.
That makes sense.
And they touch noses.
Because there's other people that get blasted with the skunk smell, but aren't in a heightened state, like is explained from the one veterinary receptionist. They have to be in some kind of heightened state.
it's Mary Beth and Curtis is our main guy.
Curtis. Good
When
job to
you
Curtis
Google
too.
this movie, when you
Yes.
Google this movie, like Google does not recognize it as an existing movie. It doesn't like pop up with the little thumbnail of the poster and the year. You just have to Google the words and like then it figures it out. And the links are we have an IMDb, the
Mhm.
trailer on YouTube, and then all of the other links are just where you can watch it on various sites.
Which honestly is pretty good SEO for like what you want when people search this.
But there's no articles or essays about it. Please, somebody write an essay about this movie.
The very last one on page 1 of my Google results is a letterboxed page for it, and some reviews on it. So that's fun. But yeah, I want to go back to the main actor. This guy's name is Scott Monahan. He has such an expressive face.
Yeah.
There's the scene that really sticks out for me is when he's like first transforming into the wereskunk and he has his hands on his face, like squishing his cheeks and messing, like he just in the best way possible for this transformation scene. His face just is like extra fleshy in a weird way, and him like scrunching it up is just like that. It makes for such a good image. Right, like it's a fun to see, and he plays the role perfectly. He's just clueless. He's right. He's just a dork, and it's great. I love it.
Such an endearing little dope.
Right? Yeah. Was the thing when they like are tempting him to come to the pool with them, and he's like, "Would a dork do this with his books?" And he tosses them in the window and then hops in.
I love that the beatnik guy rolls up with these two girls who are the flimsiest images of femininity. They're just these like giggling little girls just in constant state of party. They take off their clothes. They're like swimming in the pool in their underwear. They're not skinny dipping, but they are wearing the like 1950s high-waisted briefs. And then they have these like big merkins on underneath. All this fake pubic hair around the briefs.
So great, so funny, and no one mentions it. Like
no,
that's what's so silly about like the horniness of this stuff. It's
the strength of this movie is how many things in it go unremarked upon.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to talk about them. It's funnier that they don't. And they get in the pool and they're splashing each other, and it's a spoof of a Bikini Babe party. They're like wiggling their butts together.
Yeah.
Then he turns into the wereskunk and he chases one of them around the yard for like minutes at a time. And then he picks up a ball and throws the ball at her, and she explodes like Randy Johnson hitting that bird.
Yes, it's exactly
and then the other
like
girl
that.
Picks up the disembodied leg to try and fight him off.
Oh, it's great stuff. The scene when they're in the pool and like laughing and splashing is not as cutesy as you would think it is. It gets more hysterical, and it almost becomes like a spoof on the end of Suspiria, on just like how wild and crazy it is.
Right, we have encountered women in a different state, in a primal state.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a good comp for it.
Absolutely, and it's more like weirdly annoying than anything else. Like it's not sexy, it's not cute, right? It's none of that stuff, and that's why it's funny. Because then as they are like ever so slowly chasing each other around the pool, there's that one girl who gets stuck and then gets hit with the ball and just explodes, and you can see someone toss a leg in the pool cool, this like mannequin leg that they have there. It's just a great effect. It's so good.
I went to see Warfare last night. So this
How
week
was
has
that, by the way?
incredible.
Okay.
Incredible.
Okay.
I saw it in a packed theater. Grown men jumped. Women cried out in distress.
There you go. Good stuff.
It's a hard sit, but it's the best film of the year so far.
Okay.
And I bring this up just to say, this week I have seen two very different portrayals of somebody exploding and having just a loose leg lying around.
Okay, there you go. Good stuff. Man.
Let's talk about Gary. Let's talk about Gary, the star of the film, Deputy Gary. So the couple is killed at Lover's Lane, and then up comes Gary and Maggie. They get on the scene first before the sheriff does, because the sheriff is busy boinking his wife in a clown costume.
They also don't have cop cars, as they say. They weren't in the budget in the movie, so they will walk everywhere, which is why you see them walking up to the car there.
And there's Gary, who is the same actress playing the mother, just wearing like a cop uniform and a fake mustache with this really bizarre voice. And Maggie, who's just like a normal woman wearing mom's shorts. And Maggie's the more pragmatic, logical one. They come across the scene and she's like, I think it was an animal attack, maybe a bear. And Gary's like, I think it was a deer.
A bear? How embarrassing for you.
She's like, how do you think it's a deer? Why do you think a deer did this? When they first see the scene and Gary is so disgusted he vomits, Maggie just stands there and looks at him and says, stop it. Stop that. Which I've never seen before. And Gary, like, once the sheriff's job, is so frantic, will not stop yelling. It's the thing in cartoons where a big person puts their hand on the forehead of a little person and the little person like punches the air at them.
Yeah.
It's so Looney Tunes. Like they have to do that to Gary at all times. And then Gary calls the sheriff at home and you just hear the sheriff on the phone and he's like, "What's that, Gary? Oh, calm down, Gary. He can't be that bad, Gary. No, wait a minute, Gary. I'll be right there." And he hangs up the phone and his wife says, "Who was that?" And he says, "It was Gary."
Yeah, it's great.
Classic. Timeless. Works every time.
Yeah. It's so dumb and it works. Like it's every scene has something, whether it's a visual gag, it's some kind of verbal joke, whether it is like that anachronistic reference to something, or it is just really like bottom of the barrel punchline thing. Who was that?
Right.
Gary.
Right. This movie gives you both stuff you've never seen and stuff you've seen 100 times.
And it still works because it's just so good.
Yeah. I love when Curtis is throwing the rocks at Mary Beth's window to try and get her attention, and her dad opens the window and he's like, "Oh, if you're looking for Mary Beth, her window's over there. Yeah. Good night."
Yeah. And so he moves to the other side, starts opening that, and then the only other rock he has is a big one, opens it, and she opens it and gets hit in the head. It's so good. And then the next time that happens, she catches it.
And this has been such a cute, squeaky clean, gee golly Willikers movie up until the point where he throws the rock at her and she's like, "Motherfucker!"
She goes, "Cocksucking motherfucker!" Which is really funny considering then what she does afterwards to give him a blow job, and it's just blowing on it. Yeah, just blowing air on his crotch over his jeans.
Remember the one episode of the Venture Brothers where they try and go on a double date with Tiana and her friend, and they go out to that restaurant and
Yeah.
Hank spills water on his pants while he's washing his hands in the bathroom, and he's like, "I gotta dry my pants off. It looks like I pissed myself." So he like gets up on the wall and like humps the hand drying machine, and he's like, "Dean, you gotta try this. It feels like somebody with a fever is yelling at my crotch."
So good. So good. Oh man. Yeah, and I love how Gary almost does not blink when he sees the cop, when he sees the sheriff in his clown suit in the midst of
Right.
this, when it's like, this is my son, like, don't shoot him. Like he asks, he's like, why are you dressed like that? Like, he is confused, but not
Yeah.
not to the extent that I
Judgmental.
would almost expect. Yeah, and it
Right.
obviously is not judgmental, like we already alluded to earlier on. And it's like, hey, I have a lion tamer suit. If you want a third. But I like that the end is almost. It's not a joke. It's not a punchline. It is. It does almost have this emotional beat underneath it all. Of like, no, this wereskunk is my son, and I need to accept that. And he found love at the end, right? And like, what more can you ask
Right.
for there?
And they just walk to the they don't walk into the sunset. They just open the garden gate and walk to the other side of the gate, and there it's and then the movie's over.
Yeah,
Who knows where they're going? Who knows what happens next?
yeah, absolutely. There is an almost like post credits scene in this two between the dad.
Where they almost kiss.
Yeah, they almost kiss, and then they're about like they're about to kiss, and she goes, "Wait, did you know what's her name was a robot?" And it ends right there.
God. I love when they tear off Maggie's arm and it's revealed Maggie is a robot and that's why she had future knowledge, but like, why that?
Yeah, was she sent back from the future? I don't
What's with
know.
the mom shorts? And Gary is so shocked he screams and he screams his mustache off.
What a great touch. I hope that was somehow on purpose, that
I
he
don't know how he
screamed it off.
done it. Oh,
I really don't know, but if not, if that was a complete accident, what a great touch on that scream
wow.
so hard the mustache falls off.
Oh, my favorite Gary moment might be I think it's when the sheriff like comes to see the car in Lover's Lane and Gary keeps saying it was a deer did this, and Gary just struts away and says, "Pretty sure I solved the mystery, so I'm gonna go have me a Tom Collins."
Yeah. Or when Gary is always trying to figure out what the other person is gonna say so that they can say it first, right? And she's in there. The girl is Walter something. It's like, no, that's the father. Yeah, pretty sure I solved the mystery. I'm gonna go have me a Tom Collins.
And it's 10 a.m.
Oh, so good. Yeah, what a performance. Absolute blast. Probably gonna be coming up at our end of the year review
Definitely.
show
Yes.
awards. Oh man, great stuff.
I love when just to go through more little jokes I wrote down. I love when Harold Potter coughs up a cigarette and says, "Lucky me," and then the cigarette comes out of his mouth. He holds it and he's like, "Lucky me," and then puts it back in his mouth and smokes it.
Yeah.
Uh, I I love when the sheriff is talking to his wife and he's like, "I've seen one." He's just like, "I've seen 100 murders up on Lover's Lane," and he's like, "Well, really, 97,
Seven.
but
Yeah.
still, that's a lot. I should reach 100 by the end of the year."
Great stuff. The whole thing is just a blast all around. For sure. Go check it out. It's on Tubi. You can watch it for
It's
free.
it's free. It costs nothing.
Yeah, lots of good laughs on that stuff. Any other kind of final things you want to say as we wrap this one up here?
I really enjoyed this. Thank you. I would have never clicked on this movie on my own. It's you've introduced it to me, and it is so much more than I thought it would be.
Good. Good. Absolutely. Cool. Well, let me pull up our bingo cards here. Give me a sec to get these on screen. Bam, there we are. Cool. Okay. Bingo review show bingo. Let's see here. Do we feel like this follows the spirit of small town cop or detective in over their heads?
I think
I'm
so.
Yeah. Okay. I'm unsure.
We did
unsure on
mean
that
this
one.
more in a dramatic sense of I'm the sheriff of a small town. Nobody ever gets murdered here. Now I have to deal with a serial killer.
Right.
My
Yeah.
God. The depravity of man.
Yeah.
But it counts here.
Yeah, because I feel like part of the in over your head is also the like, well, now what do I do now that I know that my son is the wereskunk, right? It's like I'm in over my head here. Okay, I'll take
you
that
have
one.
you have that. You have ancient evil.
Ooh, ancient evil, segongu.
You have misunderstood monster.
Yes, misunderstood monster.
We have a square on here. You have a square on your sheet this year for rubber suit monster, which we mean in the Godzilla sense. I don't know if this is necessarily that because it is a human transformation. So of course it's a person in a suit.
Yeah,
I think we meant rubber suit monster as opposed in more the sense of this
right.
is a
If
massive thing. This is a kaiju. And
or
no, that's that's just Terry in a bunch of
right,
latex.
or even like I would probably have even argued for it if in the movie they were watching about the monster attacking the scientist
Yeah.
which we never even mentioned all the Uranus jokes in that, which were hilarious. But if there had been like a creature from the Black Lagoon style monster in that, or some weird looking alien, I would have argued for that, because it's not a transformation like we saw here. It is just that being. But I think you're right.
You also get home cooked meal,
Home cooked
bikini
meal.
babe party, and sexy fail. I don't get anything for this one. You got a
Wow,
bunch.
really?
Yeah, I don't think anything on my bingo sheet fits here. I don't think we had a puppet.
Interesting.
Nobody was framed for murder except for that deer. And
I
it's just a deer. It's not even a specific deer.
I could almost see kooky office lady.
Oh, that's true. With the woman
Um,
who's the receptionist for the veterinarian. But she's
yeah,
not altogether kooky. She just serves the one tropey horror movie thing of person of color who knows about ancient evil and is trying to warn you.
right. Yeah.
She's not kooky in any other way.
I'm kind of surprised we don't have like breaking into song, unless we've already marked it off somewhere.
There's stuff that like already got marked off or it's on our big list that we pull from and
Right.
we've used in years past, but we just don't have it this year.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Huh. Well, I'm at a point where like I still don't have any bingos, but I'm
Me
getting
either.
real close to like
You are much
almost
closer.
anything I get will give me something real soon here. And when I do get something, I'll get like 3 at the same time.
Yes. We just have to we just have to find something with like a fake fast food brand.
Right.
Or
I'm I'm also surprised we didn't get like a nosy neighbor in this one
Yeah.
with all the screaming in the backyard pool party or,
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Okay. That's our bingo session for this time. A good number of them for me.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Let me bring this back over here. All right, Melissa, let's do some recommendations.
Yes. I have a lot. Let's start with recommending things we've already covered here on the review show. Way back on episode 19, I made you watch a favorite movie of mine, Wet Hot American Summer,
Mm-hmm.
which is another genre pastiche here about the horny teenage summer camp. Not like there's horny adult summer camp, but I'd like to see it. This is a bunch of comedy stars before they got famous. They're all in their 20s, but playing kids who are like 17.
Right.
You've got the primary parody going on, but then there is all the weird stuff on the fringes, like the talking can of vegetables and the mere satellite crashing down and the guy who just calls upon a magnificent wind. the One of the funniest movies of all time. I can watch it over and over again. Now more than ever, this is the time. Once summer starts, turn on Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah.
On episode 51 of the show, we watched season 1 of the Hulu show Pen 15. This is a very loosely, absurdly autobiographical show from these two adult female comedians who are playing themselves at age 13, starting middle school in the year 2000. So it's a lot of nostalgia of that era, a lot of when somebody's AIM message to you meant everything in the world. You know, it's about getting the right backpack for school.
Making sure you have all the popular gel pens of the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And all the kids are played by actual kids, except for our two main characters played by women in their 30s.
Yeah.
It's so absurd sometimes, but also one of the most sharply emotional shows I've ever seen in brief moments. And in a way that is so specific that I have trouble finding a comparison point to it. I have trouble putting into words how Pen 15 makes me feel. That show's got a lot going for it.
Yeah.
On episode 75, we watched Rubber, a movie about a sentient tire named Robert who falls in love and develops psychokinetic powers and just rolls around the Southwest blowing up things with its mind and trying to get a human woman to fall in love with it.
Wild movie. We had a blast with that one.
Yes.
That was good.
That's also a movie with weird, unmentioned details. Like how there's that one diner in the center of town that everybody goes to, but the door doesn't open right. You have to like pick up the door and go through the doorway and then put the door back.
I don't think I remembered that.
It's one of the main things I remember. They couldn't even get a normal door. On episode 262, we watched The Brady Bunch movie. This is the movie from the 90s, starring Gary Cole and Shelley Long as Mike and Carol Brady, among a great cast of luminaries. That is a spoof on the Brady Bunch TV show from the 70s. It's what if the Bradys, exactly as they existed in the TV show, were just picked up and dropped in the mid-90s. The grungy, cynical mid-90s. And they're still living their sunshiny days. If you want more horny 1950s sitcom parents, you can turn to the Brady Bunch movie.
Yeah.
On episode 279, we watched Under the Silver Lake.
Yeah.
A neo-noir mystery thriller comedy starring Andrew Garfield in his finest performance. This has a lot of similar elements to
Sure.
Teenage Wereskunk. You try and watch a woman take her top off. You just scrambling through a bunch of backyards. Yeah, a guy with
A
a
weird
bunch of
pool party.
right, weird pool party. A guy with like mysterious giggling girls just drives up to you. There's a dog. There's watch this as a double feature. You're gonna have a real time. And of course, on episode 280, we watched The Velocipaster,
All-time classic.
about a pastor who transforms into a velociraptor and fights ninjas with the help of his sex worker, doctor, lawyer girlfriend, Carol.
Yes.
Character for the ages. And now for things have not yet covered on the review show. Maybe someday we will. Top Secret.
Top
A movie
Secret.
especially poignant now and after the loss of Val Kilmer. This was, I believe, his first feature film. Top Secret is a movie from the makers of Airplane. It is in
Okay.
very much the same mode as Airplane, where Val Kilmer plays Nick Rivers, this Elvis-esque teenage heartthrob singer who is sent to East Germany on a goodwill mission. Like, you're going to go, you're going to perform, you're going to introduce American culture to this side of the wall, and then he gets wrapped up in this revolutionary caper. He also has like very good pop song pastiches. The movie opens with Skeet Surfing, which is a Beach Boys type song about skeet shooting while you're surfing.
Amazing.
That's so well crafted. This is another like all-time great comedy for me. Please.
Okay, interesting.
And a local theater might be playing it as part of their Val Kilmer memorial series.
Right, yeah.
Please see Top Secret. Don't let Airplane get all of the attention. Top Secret deserves some too. John Waters' Hairspray. The Mary Beth character in this movie, also a plus-size girl with a big dark bouffant, made me think a lot about Tracy Turnblad in that movie.
Yeah.
Hairspray is another like wacky comedy where they just run into beatniks for one 10-minute scene and then they leave. And it's like, what were they doing there? It's like just there to be a commentary on beatniks, I guess. They serve no larger purpose to the plot.
Just to remind people that they exist or existed.
Yes. Troll 2 is an infamous so bad it's good movie. That's out of the upper echelon of those, it seems the most comparable to I Was a Teenage Wereskunk. There's the sexy corn woman. There's the guy who screams they've eaten her and now they're gonna eat me. Oh my god! There's Don't Piss on Hospitality. There's wonderful, wonderful things to find in Troll 2. And finally, a movie I sung the praises of to you, and you watched it and confirmed, yes, a perfect piece of cinema. Hundreds of Beavers.
Absolute cinema. Poetic cinema.
Hundreds of Beavers is what if the Revenant was a Looney Tunes?
God, that movie is so good. I was preaching about this movie to my barber when I was like, man, you need to go watch this. It's fucking great.
This is another movie that I know you can find on Tubi or whatever. It's like on all of the free streaming services. It's not hard to find. It starts silly and gets sillier.
Yeah.
And it's not animated. It is a live action movie, but wherein every creature of the wild woods is played by somebody in a cheap mascot suit.
Yeah.
There's a guy fighting a beaver who's like the same height as him.
They have a social media account on Threads.
Good.
So yeah, if you guys are interested, which I'm sure also means they have an Instagram. But that means if you guys want to see like behind the scenes shots and stuff like that of how they made hundreds of beavers, great stuff.
It took so much work to make a thing that looks that dumb and cheap and silly.
Like, that's the thing. Like, for the animation that is in there, for the effects that they have, it is so creative and so like it on one hand, sure, I guess you could say it's cheap, but it also doesn't feel cheap because of how much is in there. And like
Mhm.
it's a fairly long movie, but it's amazing how it keeps going and keeps your interest because it just keeps getting wilder and more things are happening. And it's like, what is going on?
It's not long in the grand scheme of movies, but it's longer than you would
You would
imagine it
expect.
to be.
Yeah.
It's not one of these 90-minute in and out goof fests. It's
Yeah.
like an hour and 54-minute goof fest.
Yeah. Yeah. I second that recommendation. That one was incredible.
All right. Kyle, what
Incredible.
else are your
Uh,
recommendations?
so yeah, besides seconding Velocipaster and hundreds of beavers, both of which are incredible, especially if you like this more modern day B movies as aesthetic. I'm not even sure what to call it because it's almost a genre in and of its own, where it's this
Yes.
modern day B movie, but it's not a B movie per se, but it is paying homage or cribbing that style, right? Um, so yeah, I love Velocipaster is one of my all-time favorites of that style. Hundreds of beavers is incredible. Other ones that I have seen, there's one that I watched called Inhuman Witch, which is, if I'm not mistaken, there's a radioactive accident in outer space, and an astronaut is transformed into a sentient blob of meat that eats everything and just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And the poster for which looks like a sloppy Joe with teeth on it. But this one was also absolutely hilarious. If you want more of the like the sci-fi stylings of those B movies back in the day, this one will absolutely hit those buttons. If you liked the clips of the like the movie they were watching in I Was a Teenage Wereskunk, this is almost exactly that kind of thing. It's really good. We had a blast with that one. Um, so I highly recommend that one as well. If you want to go for something that's also a little bit more on the horror side, equally as fun, but maybe a lot less so a comedy, but still has the comedy, there is Attack of the Killer Pinata. In which, yes, a pinata that you can buy at like Walmart is killing a bunch of people. That one was a lot of fun. Apparently, they have a sequel that I just found out about while searching for I Was a Teenage Wereskunk called Bride of the Killer Pinata. So I might have to
Oh,
go watch that one real soon here with
I
my partner.
there's another movie for the two of you to watch. I have not
Hmm.
seen this. I've seen clips from it. I've never seen the actual thing. You might need to get a trial to Shudder to watch it.
Okay. Okay.
It's called Slacks.
Slacks.
SLAXX. A possessed pair of jeans terrorizes trapped workers at a trendy clothing store.
Rachel would love
Slacks.
it.
This was nominated for a Dead Meat Horror Award for Best Practical Effects. That's
Okay.
where I learned
Interesting.
about it.
Interesting. Okay. There's also another one of these really dumb, silly B movies that I've watched that was pretty decent and fun. Attack of the Killer Donuts. um,
Mhm.
in which just a box of donuts starts killing people. It's so dumb, but it's so fun. And last but not least, an older one, and also much more on the horror side. But also, if you liked the horniness of this one and want to actually see a little bit more, Frankenhooker is a good one to check out.
Frankenhooker.
That's a great one. So those are my recommendations. Lots of good fun stuff. And I guess we also mentioned a bunch of like venture bros as we were discussing this. So go watch that too. It's
Suspiria.
fun. Yeah, go watch Suspiria. It's great. The original one is the one with the crazy ending.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. That's all the recommendations I have for you right now. So Melissa, I'm tossing it back to you. What are we covering next time, next episode?
Next episode here on Stupid April, we are watching all the episodes of I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson, the Netflix sketch show. This is a show that's been very popular. It's been out for a couple of years. I think it is 3 seasons. I started watching it when it first came out in like 2020 or 2021 and thought, I would love to cover this on the show because we've never tackled a sketch comedy show. I'd like to try that once here.
Yeah.
And see what that discussion is like. And so I put it on a shelf and I'm like, I have to take it back off the shelf. It's time. I have to watch this thing. It's like a major piece of cultural knowledge I'm missing out on.
Right. Yeah.
And I want to watch the whole thing before that movie Friendship comes out next month.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you seen the trailers for Friendship?
I don't remember if I have. Let me see if I can
You
look
would
it
have
up.
remembered. This is a movie starring Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd, where Tim Robinson's just like a guy with nothing really going for him, and then he makes friends with this new neighbor and this other group of guys. And he's like, life just opened up for me. This is amazing. I love having these bros. And then they're like, yeah, we had a couple fun hangs, but you're not like really one of our best friends. We don't, right. We don't really want to hang out with you anymore. And then you watch this man snap. The trailer makes it look like a thriller, but then all of the pull quotes are like, this is the funniest movie I've ever seen.
Great. Yeah, no, I have not seen the trailer for that one yet. I was looking up the poster. But I have heard good things about I Think You Should Leave. A lot of people really, really like it. That's kind of all I know about it, though. I don't know anything else besides that. So we'll see. Should be good. I'm excited. Diving into something new here on the review show. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Available on Netflix. You said 3 seasons. How many episodes each? What are the run times, you know?
Not many. It's really not many. It's like 6 episodes, and they're short episodes. They're like 18 minutes.
I gotcha. Okay. I see. But yeah, that should be fun. That's what we will be up to for this next episode. So yeah, let's wrap things up right there. Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
Write me an email at yourhostmelissa@gmail.com. Tell me if you've ever met a beatnik in real life.
Send your beatnik stories to Melissa. You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are at thewhatnauts.com on Blue Sky. So please go like, share, and subscribe. You guys know the deal with all that. If you're watching this on YouTube, go check out more of our videos over there on that side of the screen. That would help us out as well. So yeah, once again, thank you so much for checking this out, and we will see you all next time. This has been I don't remember what number this is of the Whatnauts review show. 315.
315. Bye.